this has been really a year for people just making the most horrendous ideas for the freelancers that work with them. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I've had ideas that seemed brilliant at the time, but after I, wake up sober, then I thought, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't send that text message. Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're gonna look back on 2023 and some of the questionable decisions Wizards of the Coast and parent company Hasbro have made this year. Well, let's. What do you think, Sam? It's been kind of a rough year for Hasbro PR, Wizards of the Coast.
That's an understatement. Imagine having the 2020 or something, 2021, one of those years was like their best year ever revenue wise. They made like hand over fist amounts of money. A lot of it was on digital content, right? Because everyone had to move online, so they're getting a lot of the D&D online books, and they're doing a lot of Magic Arena, and COVID made everyone spend money in different ways. But then they kept making a lot of money, and like that cascaded into then year 2023, where they're like, oh, where did we do with all these dollar bills? And I guess the answer to that question was just screw everyone else. That was kind of their whole mentality, which is weird to me, but
yeah, I mean, at this point, it feels like they're doing it on purpose. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
we'll get into it.
yeah. Do you want to start with the most recent controversy? Or do you want to work backwards from the?
Let's go. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay, so this is Pinkertons. This is
No, was it?
Was it Pinkertons first, or was the OGL crisis
I think
first?
the OGL was first.
Okay, sure. OGL crisis then. Whenever they decided that, that beautiful little legal document that lets other people sell products and that use our IP, what if we just gave them all the middle finger?
Well, let me the OGL, Open Gaming License. I've never completely understood the logic behind that in the first place.
Okay. I'm not an expert. Let me make that little clarification. But from my understanding, having done some reading in it and having read over the actual license myself, at least a version of the license 3 years ago, the gist of what the OGL is for is to let people worry-free publish content using the rule set of Dungeons and Dragons. So historically, this is what gave way to games like Pathfinder being able to exist. This is what gave way to many settings getting to exist. Setting books, a lot of third-party adventures and other content can use things like, fighters, can use things like clerics, can use their class structure and rule structure and sell that freely and just do that as much as they like without any repercussions from Wizards of the Coast copyright team.
Yeah,
right?
I get that. But why? What's in it for them? Why would they do that?
So the general consensus, it's sort of been legacied in. So there was one in 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition. The idea was it let more let's say this is a much smaller scope, right? Let's say you're working in 2nd edition and there are a couple of maybe 10,000, 15,000 nerds around the country playing this game. You don't have the resources to make adventures for them that regularly. You don't have the means and resources to regularly print content for it. And there's a really big hunger, this drive for people to make that content. And to do so gets more people engaging with the system. It helps the system as a whole grow. If they can go to their local game store and see the 15 different adventure books on the shelf, they can pull any of them that they find interesting and play with it, right? They're being able to be a Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons book, pulls people that weren't going to play D&D into the system, even if they can't license and get that to work out on their own end, right? Now, that was way back before Hasbro became the Goliath they are. Not Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast became the Goliath it is now. And because they kind of grandfathered that thing in over and over again as just sort of, this is the way it's been, the most recent execs were like, this is stupid. We're just leaving money on the table and people are taking it. We should be charging everyone to do this. There should be no one should be allowed to use this intellectual property, this rule set, without paying us. And that's just not how anything has worked for a very long time. And they can't just all of a sudden say, hey, we know you've been working with us over this for a long time. You've been making money off it. We've been making money off it. No more is this going to be allowed. That is where a lot of the trouble then sort of started.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could maybe understand it if, all right, we're coming out with 5th edition now. Sorry, guys, we're not going to have this OGL with this one. But that's not what happened. I mean,
no.
They didn't try and pull the rug out from under us until this year.
Yeah. And it was
And,
like really out of nowhere.
well, because it was never like an official thing. It was like a version of this idea was leaked, right?
Yeah, because the people that designed the game liked the game. They wanted this not to go live, so they're like, there were whistleblowers that told the whole public, like, hey, this is happening. They sent I think there were sub companies like Cobalt Press and Paizo and a couple other big hit names got like, this is going to be the new OGL, buckle in kids, and
Well,
that did not go well.
What would that have done to Paizo and Cobalt Press and all that? Would they just be effectively shut down, or?
So, well, you actually can see the repercussions of this to this day. So Paizo, their Pathfinder 2nd edition books got a re-release where functionally what Paizo did was they went in and said, okay, we're not screwing around. We're cutting all relations, all words, all a language that could be loaded in Dungeons and Dragons, like rooted in their space, that they could have copyright over in some way, shape, or form. We're cutting all of that from our books. So their most recent re-release of the new, I think it's Player Core, it's a rehashing and a little bit of like updating to their initial core class structure of Pathfinder 2 that largely serves the purpose to say, this book, no matter what Wizards of the Coast when Hasbro tries to pull, is not within their jurisdiction in any way, shape, or form. None of their IP is even tangentially related to this new modern printing. We're seeing Tales of the Valiant and Cobalt Press being their version of, yeah, we're not going to get screwed by having Dungeons & Dragons be the system anymore. This is our system. It's using rules that they can't enforce and claim ownership of, but because of, loose language and similar ideas and all the things, you can't like own the idea of a role-playing game. So they're taking a lot of that and making their own system structures with it. It helps that a lot of the if it had gone through, they would have had to make that switch faster, and they would just stop making 5th edition content for the most part and just produce for their systems, and that largely just hurts Wizards of the Coast. But
yeah,
it also hurts those two companies. That's definitely would have happened. Like they both would have lost, less so Paizo because they're more so. Pathfinder is a lot sturdier of an IP, but a lot of smaller companies would have went belly up and go, oh, we just can't make anything anymore. Guess I'm out of a job for my freelance, making things. Guess my Patreon no longer can sell subscribers because I can't make content anymore without getting, taken down. So.
Oh yeah, man, what a kick in the nuts that was, or could have been. But
just the small people too, right? Like it's like the big popular jock just going up to the underdog and kicking them right in the nards, and no one likes that. Every single person's like, that's just a mean thing to do.
Oh, you mean like spectators don't like it?
Yeah, spectators don't like it.
I mean, I think it's funny to watch somebody get kicked in the nuts, but
sure.
Not necessarily the little nerd kid in high school though. But yeah, so at least of all we're going to talk about today, that's the one that actually had repercussions for them, because this ultimately did not go through. They what they had some ridiculous response. I forget the wording of the letter. Let me dig it up. It's like people are going to say
the
that
response was really funny. They'd be like, we couldn't have seen this coming.
Well, what was that? They said like, yeah, people, you're going to hear people saying we lost, but the truth is we won.
Everybody won.
Everybody won. Oh, man, I wish I could remember the exact wording, but
some crap like
just
that.
Stupid.
And they put all of the basic rules into the Creative Commons. Like, oh yeah, we definitely won. We're just gonna, in order to try and buy back any amount of faith, put this in a indisputable legal document that says it is free for anyone to use forever, and there's nothing we can do to touch it anymore. Like,
oh, here it is.
You won.
You're going to hear people say that they won, and we lost because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won, and so did we.
It just sounds like an egomaniacal villain, right?
Yeah. Oh my god.
This has been a year for that. So they're another nerd space. The big gaming company, game development engine Unity. There was a huge story where they had like, this is the same thing where the Unity employees were like, this is the dumbest idea you could possibly do. They were looking to charge the developer of a game after a certain dollar amount based off of install, not even on like purchase of the games, not even like agnostic of platform or whatever. So like if you installed a Unity game and made a bot that would install a Unity game and uninstall it over and over and over again, you would just bill the creator 3 cents every time you did it. Like it was this horrendous payment model that everyone was like, there's no world this works. No one everyone is aware this is as dumb an idea as possible. So many game developers jump shipped off Unity, and Godot is now growing at a like ridiculous rate, its largest competitor. This has been really a year for people just making the most horrendous ideas for the freelancers that work with them. Like I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I've had ideas that seemed brilliant at the time, but after I, wake up sober, then I thought, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't send that text message or something,
When you have like a whole team of people internally telling you
That's
this is
just
a
the thing,
really dumb idea.
Yeah, this sounds like something I might do because I don't have, shareholders and people wanting to protect them from me.
It's more of like they only listen to the shareholders and they don't listen to the actual people that care about producing a good product.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, well, yeah. So, well, that was just the beginning of 2023. I guess we'll move on to the Pinkerton situation now. When did that happen? That was, I want to say April. Was that? I
don't remember the month.
April. Okay. What exactly happened there? There's some Magic the Gathering nerd on YouTube got sent the wrong box of cards. Yes.
I think that was his claim or whatever, and his claim really doesn't matter. I can't emphasize enough how much the claim of whatever happened doesn't matter. So they had a new product called Aftermath for their their big standard set March of the Machines. And this is like a new kind of product they're releasing. They're just booster packs with less cards in them, which I can't believe that can be considered a new kind of product, as opposed to there's being 15 cards in the pack. There's like 8 or 5 or whatever, and they're like, it's new. You can't play with it unless you. It was such a dumb product. It was so. Aftermath is a bad product, agnostic of what then also happened. So like there are consistently, and there have consistently been Magic leaks where someone gets product sooner than other people, sooner than they're supposed to, and they will share that on the internet via Reddit, via YouTube, via whatever. And in this case, this guy had all of his information accessible, and Wizards tracked him down and sent Pinkertons to kick in his door and harass him. Like, not even police, like a hired goon squad.
Well, no. I don't think
a Bond
police
villain
would have done anything.
Yeah, they'd been like, sorry, tough tits. I don't know.
Go find a girlfriend, nerd.
Which, like, again, from a public perception, this just makes you look terrible, doesn't it?
I know. Because, this YouTuber had, 8 subscribers or whatever, and, who cares? You do this. This is newsworthy. This puts this guy on the map and makes you look like an asshole.
Yeah. Now this person is almost a martyr because they got hit by an enormous big company for just sharing some Magic and it was 2 weeks prior to preview season, if that. It was they were going to be previewed in a minute anyway. No one gave a crap about this set anyway. It's of choosing a hill to die on publicly. The spoilers of Aftermath to just do a truly horrendous, despicable thing. Sure, 2 wrongs don't make a right. You shouldn't leak private information like this. You shouldn't leak the contents of the cards. I don't know the whole story around whether or not he thought he was opening regular, and this is a real valid point, whether or not he was opening March of the Machine cards or March of the Machine Aftermath cards, which I'm not going to be one to fault a person for making that kind of mistake whenever the names of the products are so similar, they're released so close together, and there's I think March of the Machine had 4 different booster pack kinds that you could get. You could get collectors, you could get draft, you could get set, and you could get jumpstart. All 4 of those were kinds of booster packs you could open that were called March of the Machine booster packs. So, I'm not saying the guy did it legitimately. I'm not saying he knew he was leaking content or whatever. I don't know the story. It's still inexcusable to hit the guy with the Pinkertons. It just is. That's just not a thing you do in polite society these days.
Yeah, man. I wish Wizards would send Pinkertons to come beat the shit out of me. Think of what it would do for the channel.
Very little, I think, in the long term. I have a hunch that guy still is a nobody on YouTube, likely. Right? Maybe pulled in a couple thousand that stuck around, but I doubt that he's got a new career because of the Pinkertons. And instead, he just was in fear for his life for a few hours, and that's a real cost that he's going to have to live with forever now because he showed off some cards a week and a half, 2 weeks early.
All right, well, just the same, like this video and subscribe to this channel so I don't get hurt.
And Wizards of the Coast, if you're listening, you heard it here. Bob wants you to send the Pinkertons after him.
Not now that I've said it. Oh, I find myself in a catch-22. Oh dear, man. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. That's ridiculous.
Honestly, that would be a big year for just those two controversies.
Oh, absolutely. I thought,
Yeah.
wow, that's where it's going to end.
Mhm.
That, I mean, that's really, really bad.
Well, there's another controversy that happened where they announced, I think Magic 30 happened the year prior, but it was like right on the tail of it because it was in early or just late December or something is when this big controversy was still stirred up, where they were selling booster packs of non-legal cards that were not reprints of the original set for like $300 a pack or something utterly outrageous for Magic 30, where you could get like these not real, and Magic cards aren't real anyway, right? But you get these faux replacement versions of the original set, and they charge abhorrent prices for it. Like, just scamming people at the hope of getting a pretend Black Lotus. And it's like, what? So this is already, they had a big controversy spree, and I thought finally they were done for a while, Bob. I thought, all right, Wizards got their controversy out, they're going to put their heads down, Hasbro's going to like bunker down, do some PR management, make people not hate them.
Well, they did the first part. They did some PR management, but kind of the wrong way. Because right here, 2 weeks away from Christmas, they was this Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro?
This is large. So this is larger Hasbro scope. Wizards of the Coast is affected by this. Parts of their teams are affected by this, but it is full also, company Hasbro.
So I mean, but it's 1,100 people got canned 2 weeks before Christmas from Hasbro.
Yeah, and I believe there was another large grouping that got fired earlier this year too. Like these weren't.
They said like 800 up back in January or something.
Yeah, additional downsizing, which again, the CEO took like a $9 million bonus.
Yeah.
Huh. That's up from last year, the record.
Well, they're trying to keep Hasbro lean, so he claims. But all right, I get that. Bottom line, you do what you do, you're a business, but it's just, I mean, the real kicker is how much would it have affected the bottom line to wait a couple of weeks? Just like, this seems like targeted, we want to look bad, or we want to let people know we don't give a shit how we look. I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest. The company has had no shortage of controversy the last 3-4 years. Their stock price goes up, right? They are making huge amounts of money. Less this year than last year. I think less last year than the year before, close to the same amount. But like, they're like they're making more money now than they were 10 years ago. And their reputation now is worse than it was 10 years ago by a lot. So like, while we say, oh, this is the dumbest thing you could possibly do, why would you do these things? We have to reckon with the reality of they're getting away with it. They're getting away with it, and there aren't real consequences for them, right? The long-term D&D Beyond subscriber losses aren't going to be sustained. We're not going to see like mass Magic the Gathering players or exodus now because they did a horribly cruel thing to the people that make the game that keeps the company profitable.
Right? Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. Stock prices haven't gone up from back when I bought the stocks. I thought, just like you said, oh, this is as bad as it's going to get. I'm going to scoop up some Hasbro right now. That's gone down since then.
Tragic. So Hasbro has a lot of problems. I think the most interesting part about this, so Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the biggest successes, game of the year, raking in just truly ridiculous sums of money, right? It's massive. It is the Dungeons and Dragons IP right now. Baldur's Gate 3's team took layoffs from this. They like people that were part of giving the team that made that their stuff, right? Some of those people lost their jobs for making or at least being contributing elements to creating the biggest moneymaker they have received this year.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Wizards of the Coast is the most profitable branch of Hasbro, and it is not close. And their teams for the Magic the Gatherings are getting cut. So they made a product called Lord of the Rings Tales Middle-earth. It is the most profitable Magic the Gathering set of all time because it's Lord of the Rings and Magic the Gathering, right?
Sure.
Sold like hotcakes. People loved the hell out of this product. The lead of the Universes Beyond team, the ones responsible for creating this product, lost her job. The most profitable element to the Magic the Gathering IP, they cut the head of it off.
Yeah, who are they keeping, and what are the criteria? I wonder.
It feels like this is a lot of like managerial positions getting cut for trimming. I don't understand why. There were down to the ground like devs and game designers that are losing their jobs all over the place too. It's not like this is exclusive to managerial positions, but
I mean, speaking of keeping things lean, these their past few book releases been on a little bit on the thin side, so we've reviewed, and it seems like we need you to put out better, bigger content, which means you need more staff, not gutting what you've already got. And they're coming out with new rule set next year.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. It is crazy to me that prior to releasing the literal next edition of this game within months, while the playtest documents are hot, while they are doing finalizations for not just the new books, but the books that will have to follow the new books, while they're doing this big new launch for their competing virtual tabletop, they're cutting team members.
And a lot of them.
Yeah. So, like, if for consumers, this is bad for us, that's evident. Like, obviously, it's horrible for the people and their families. But like the games and things that we enjoy from this company are going to be worse now. And we can't be really mad at the devs because the company is destroying any kind of incentive they have to work there. If I were to come to you, right, and say like, okay, boss, I just made the hottest selling novel of our history, right? It has sold this many copies. I'm doing great. You're making lots of money from me. And you go, great, you're fired. There's no incentive for any of the other employees to do well. There's no incentive for any of the other employees to think that doing well will earn them job security. We saw again. Go for it.
No, just to say job security is like right out the window. If I was working at Hasbro right now, I would definitely be punching up my resume.
It like two of the most.
I'm not the most valuable person in any room.
If two of the most important people on some of the largest money-making products of the highest profit-driven aspect of your company lost their jobs, there's no security for anyone there. The incentives for people no longer exist, right? There can't be company loyalty if you're watching people that are doing the company well losing their jobs. And in that, for consumers, we're going to see not this coming batch of products because they're already mostly done, but the ones that follow that and the ones that follow those, we're going to see drops in quality. We're going to see products that are less fleshed out, get less time in the oven, have less people with eyes on them, have less work gone into them. We're going to see Magic sets in a year and a half, 2 years from now that just get launched that don't have cohesive ideas. They don't have cohesive set mechanics. They don't have time to actually get played with and used. We're going to see D&D books that are just, well, that's what's written. We had 3 people on it. Hope there aren't errors. None of us play tested this. Out the door it goes.
Not to mention a shit ton of AI art.
Oh God.
I mean, I don't play Magic. I don't know much about it. But what I do know is that, the art is quite a lot of the appeal.
Yeah, there was recently Wizards they had normally a pretty good job of like keeping tight leashes on their artists, what sounds mean, and it kind of is. But like the idea
in the
is
literal sense.
the idea is like they have strict standards. So like
Yeah.
obviously things like plagiarism is just not allowed. So
No.
we saw recently they released
that's a good thing. We
yes,
want standards. We want quality. Yeah, go ahead.
absolutely. So we saw like an artist for a reprint of a card copied to the background of a different artist. That artist piped it on Twitter and said, "Hey, that's my art. It's very clearly my art." They
Yeah.
put an art piece on top of it, but that's a painting that I made. It's right here. And within like a week, there was a statement up on Wizards of the Coast site that was like, "We're no longer doing business with this artist. They are blacklisted from all of our venues. We can't change where the got printed, but this is how we are moving forward." They're only pretty good about this. That's not the case with the art though, for some reason, and especially in the D&D, like the D&D books, they do not have the same standards. They continue to use artists that use those kinds of AI generative things, and like I have a hard time right now, at least, I have a hard time faulting them because evidently they're going to be understaffed. And evidently they need to get these certain like they have to fight for their job to the best they can, and they have to meet certain quality standards, but they have to do that while also being fearful that, well, I might just lose my job anyway. I guess I should just get whatever I can done to get the paycheck to keep moving forward. Like
I was thinking about the other direction. Like I thought, well, we can fire all these guys because we got AI now.
People really hate AI art. Like when I say I really hate it, like people, I'm kind of included in this bucket. I'm not gonna buy anything that's got AI generated art in it. If I know what's in it, I'm just gonna be like, I'm not using it or engaging with that. It's just a thing, a moral standpoint that I currently have. I might have an opinion change in 2 or 3 years' time when it becomes more mainstream, but like it's just not something I'm gonna engage with. I know too many people that do art for a living that are worried about it, and I know like just how much it screws up and how unreliable it is and how much it is stealing from like GPT-4. We know their trading data isn't legally obtained, and they even had a big disclaimer like, if anyone sues you for using this content, we'll cover the legal fees. And I'm like, what? That's all to say, like, we're going into dark places. Things are getting worse, not better. I think more and more people should start jumping ship. I think that Wizards of the Coast and largely their parent company Hasbro are not going in a positive direction for anyone. And like, I know a lot of people, myself included, that would have aspired to work there one day. Don't go to work there. You get underpaid. We know that for a fact, but we also know that like your job is a joke to them, and they're going to take home $1 million bonuses while your kids go, "Hey, Dad, why don't you have a job anymore?" And you go, "I don't know, son. I made them the most profitable set of human history."
Yeah, that's rough.
That's a lot of word vomit. Sorry, team.
No,
it's just really, it's so depressing.
Yeah, it sure is.
Here's some more controversy in 2024.
Yeah, that's hopefully that's all they got for us in 2023. We're winding down.
I can't wait for the Christmas Day special to come out where it's like the head of Hasbro shot somebody.
All right, well, I hope that isn't the case.
Me too.
Well, happy holidays, everyone, and I don't know how to end this.
Let us know your thoughts on the controversies. There's a lot to talk about. Between like, of the three, which one do you think is very clearly the biggest? Like, what one do you have the most moral grievances with, I guess, is my question. Is, of these three big events that happen, which one bugs you the most? Which of these gets you closest to saying, I'm just not going to buy a Wizards product again? So I know I still will, but I shouldn't. That's my consumer idiot brain. Just, but pretty book on shelf.
All right, yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments. Until next time, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.